There are countless of hotels, here in the United States, and also in much of the world, that have stories of death, tragedies or revenges. The vast majority of these events are usually linked to situations paranormal. Many times, we come across stories truly terrifying, like the one you are going to hear below. I ask you to please, make yourself comfortable and enjoy this new story of horror. Before starting the story, I ask you to subscribe to the channel, share the video and activate all notifications. And if you like the story, leave a like and a comment. This helps the video reach many more people. Now yes, let's start with today's story. This case that you are going to hear below happened in a beautiful hotel located in Vermilion, a small town situated about 35 miles west of Cleveland, Ohio. The place invites you to rest and disconnect a little from the hustle and bustle of big cities. But today's video, not about the town and its qualities, but that rather, it is about a hotel located in this place, where happen, and mostly during the night, situations paranormal worthy of a movie of horror. The story begins like this. My name is Emma and I would like to tell you something that happened to me and a coworker, some time ago. If I remember correctly, I was about 24 years old at the time. I am from the city of Bloomington in the state of Illinois, and for reasons of work, we had to take a trip with a colleague to the city of Vermilion. The company for which we worked at that time, and as was usual, had reserved us months in advance and for a few days. The round trip and the hotel rooms in which we were going to stay. From what I remember, it was 7 days and 7 nights. Of more this say that the trip was perfect. We arrived on a Tuesday, around 5 in the afternoon, and we each settled into our room. The hotel, quite well known for the area, was beautiful, comfortable and with treatment exceptional. Of course we never imagined the things that would happen during the night. Something I want to mention to you, is that, for work reasons I have always been a person of traveling to different cities and states in the country. And I can assure you that I have been in hotels and rooms of all kinds. But never, I had happened in situations similar to what has occurred in that occasion.
Look, to put you in context and describe the little place, after the hall entrance, about 10 meters from the main door of the hotel, it's found the reception. The place has a swimming pool, gym and service laundry, a dining room where you can have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And on the ground floor, it has a large living room. Climbing the stairs to the first floor, you find a long hallway, in which all the rooms are located. Reaching the end of that hallway, there are other stairs next to a large window, which I assume was the emergency exit or the entrance of the hotel cleaning staff. Well, continuing with the story, to my coworker and I were assigned the last 2 rooms. If I remember correctly, to me touched the number 24, and my colleague got the room that was right in front, that is number 23, which were next to of the great window that before I mentioned to you, and that were contiguous to those other stairs, that I assumed were the emergency stairs.
The point is that, we left our suitcases and our belongings each in their room. And once settled we went down to the dining room to have a coffee and organize the working day of the next day. It was already somewhat late, so, we had the coffee, we left everything ready for the next day. We had dinner and went up to our rooms to rest, since the day next we would start very early. I have the habit, when I am in hotels, of not only close the door with key, but I also usually leave the key placed in the lock. It is a detail important, that you will understand in a few moments. The room was simple, a bathroom, a closet, a small desk and 2 single beds of 1.5 square. I chose to sleep on the bed that was next to the window, which overlooked an internal patio of the hotel. I was pleased with this, because I knew that at least, I wouldn't be bothered by the noises that might come from outside the hotel. I went to bed and set the phone cell alarm to ring very early, but I was so tired that I fell asleep, without even realizing it. In the middle of the night something woke me up. I don't know exactly what it was, but I clearly felt it. When I opened my eyes, the room was illuminated by a faint light, coming through the window. This allowed me to see a person in front of me. It was the silhouette of a man, or at least, that was what I saw with the little light there was. But yes, I'm totally sure. This person, or figure, that was completely black, had a hat which was perfectly visible. And I felt, or had the sensation, that he was watching me, although I couldn't see his eyes. But inside me, I had the feeling that he was observing. I imagine that anyone who had something similar happen to him will understand. At that moment, I was completely awake. In fact, from the first moment I opened my eyes, I was completely awake. When I yelled at him, what was he doing in my room? This shadow turns and walks towards the door of the room. There I lose sight of it, since the closet that was there prevented me from seeing the door. I immediately turn on the light that is above the head of the bed. I jump out of the bed to able be of stand, and I realize two things. The first is that there was no one in that place, or at least, no one who was visible. And the detail that scared me the most was confirmed that the door was closed, and with a key just as I left it before I went to bed. The truth is that what appeared was able to get in and leave practically without opening the door. The fear that this situation generated in me, it didn't let me sleep all night. I didn't even have the courage to turn off the lights. In the morning I told my colleague what happened to me. And I don't know if he believed me at the time, but he suggested I ask to change my room. I instantly said no. I was a little embarrassed to actually ask for this, and furthermore, I didn't want to be taken for crazy. But the following nights were impossible to sleep again. I didn't see this shadow again, but I couldn't fall asleep, and the reason was for two motives. The first reason was that it could be perceived a terrible smell of putrefaction, and the atmosphere in the room was quite dense, or at least that's how I felt. So you can understand what I mean. The room was very nice, but the atmosphere in the room was as if it sucked all the energy out of you. And on the other hand, practically during all the following nights, you could hear knocks in the hallway, noises of people walking in the hallway, metallic noises, as if someone was working. Something that was totally impossible, given that this happened in the middle of the night. And I assure you that in the hallway where all the rooms were, there was absolutely no one. On the third day, my coworker saw that I was so tired, because I had practically not been able to sleep, and during the day we were completely busy with work, that he offered to stay with me in the room, lie on the other bed and just be there, to help me feel a little more comfortable and safe. Until that moment he thought that what I had were just some nightmares. But he verified for himself that this was not the case. The first thing I did was ask him if he felt that stench of putrefaction, to which he replied that didn't feel anything. I didn't dare ask about the noises I heard at night, since I didn't want him to think I was crazy. So the only thing I did was get ready to sleep. I was so tired that I fell asleep without realizing it. Meanwhile, my coworker was reading lying on the other bed. However, I remember waking up with a start after a few minutes, maybe because of the fear I felt during the previous nights. But he still was reading, and he told me to stay calm because nothing had happened. Finally, there I did manage to relax and return to conciliate the sleep, but incredibly that rest did not last long. Remember that I woke up in the at dawn, like the first night, but this time with the screams of my colleague. I hear him call me, and ask me to please turn on the light. The truth is that he was screaming desperately, and was noticeable the panic in every scream he gave. When I managed to turn on the light, found my colleague lying on the floor, wrapped in the padding and with his face completely disjointed, looking everywhere. As he untangled himself from the padding, I asked him what had happened, and almost without being able to breathe, he tells me that he had fallen asleep and woke up when something or someone gave him a strong blow on the side of the hip. When he opened his eyes, he saw a black shadow, which he lost sight of as he fell off the bed. Is that? The blow was so strong that he knocked him to the floor and became tangled in the padding. Remember that clearly, me told. Emma, what is in this room is not just a shadow. This entity can have contact physical with us, and that seems to me to be not good at all. In fact, it is quite the opposite. He asks me to check his back where he had felt the blow, because he was still in very pain. And we found that he had a totally red bruise, which as the days went by turned purple and very painful. Let me tell you, and I can assure you, that neither of us was able to close an eye again the entire night. And something else that also happened was that in the moment, in that my coworker managed to sit up and sit on the bed so that I could check his back. He told me that now he, yes, could smell rot, to which I responded, "You saw that I told you that I smelled that rotten stench."
So, in the morning when we see the hotel concierge, we tell him what happened at night inside the room. And we also ask him if the laundry room was located in the internal courtyard of the hotel, which was adjacent to my room, or if some type of construction was being carried out. Because from the room, I could hear footsteps and many noises. The concierge, with a frightened face, remained silent for a moment, and after a few seconds, he answered us.
No, miss. There is no laundry room in that place, much less any type work of construction being carried out at that late hour of the night. It seems strange to me that you haven't been able to sleep well, since that place is the quietest in the hotel.
Alike, let me tell you, I was not very convinced by what he told us. The expression on his face did not coincide with what he was telling us. I believe that he was aware of what was happening in that room. But so as not to stress ourselves out more than we were already, he didn't tell us anything. Finally, I tell the janitor, "Well, it's fine, it doesn't matter." With my colleague we finished breakfast and we left to work. At the end of the workday and returning to the hotel, I found the news that the people at the hotel had decided on their own and without asking us, to move me to another room. They had grabbed all my belongings, my suitcase and my bags, and had taken it to the other end of the hallway of the hotel. That area faced right onto the main street of the entrance to the hotel, and supposedly that was one of the rooms with more noise. The truth is that, at that moment, although it bothered me that they will take my things without asking me, inside I felt relieved. Since being in that new room, the days that followed were completely normal. My colleague continued hosted in room number 23, and if well, that room was in front of the one that had been assigned to me initially. In his room to him nothing ever happened. The problem was the blissful room number 24. Despite a few years have passed since that event, I was always intrigued to know who or what that shadow or entity that resembles a person was. Maybe in that room happened some tragic event, or it was the place of the last days of life of some human being. And what surprised me much more was the sudden change of room that they made to me, and above all without asking me. Obviously the people at the hotel knew very well what was happening there, and I can tell you this not only because of the change of room, but also because of the expression on the hotel concierge's face when he heard what had happened to us that night. Very well, friends, thank you for reaching the end of the video. As I said at the beginning, the hotels enclose stories, tragedies, and surely many secrets that they drag through the years. For reasons of respect, since it is not the intention of the video to harm or offend anyone, the name of the hotel will remain anonymous. I hope all understand that in case of saying it, the video could be taken down at any time. This way we make sure we can enjoy it indefinitely. I send a big hug to all of you, and have a great day.
It intrigues me a lot to know what could have happened there. Evidently that entity had physical strength. And above all, now it intrigues me much more given that in many stories and videos. I see talk of the man black with a hat. I believe that he may be the same entity that is in different parts.